Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some Mortal Realms. Issue number 18 is here. It is Wednesday, so it's really good stuff. Before we jump into everything though, I just wanted to say, if you like these videos, please hit the like button, drop a comment down below. If you wish to as well, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Right then, so what we're getting this week. So this week we've got two new paints. So we've got Lead Belcher and we've got Dryad Bark. Great new paints to go with a little collection of paints that you get in there. Dryad Bark's really good for earth colours, and Lead Belcher's really good for dark metallics, especially for weapons of things like the chain rasps and for your iron grates and fences and everything like that from the Sigmar mausoleum. We've also got a large battle mat. So this is the second large battle mat that we've got. This one you can match it up and add it to the other one, as long as you've got a space, line it up next to it, and you can kind of make them meet, so you can have very large scale warfare. And then on the other side it's got that, which is a little bit of a hint to what we're going to find out at the end of this issue. So let's just jump into it, shall we? So issue 18. So we've got the Anvils of the Helden Hammer. One of the main storm hosts, they have come to embrace the death that they once feared. These guys are based in Shyish, and their greatest storm keep is the Grand Necropolis, which stands in the city of Lethis at the heart of the underworld known as Styx. They have also have a strong presence in the city of Anvilgard in Akshi. So these guys are in more than one realm. They have a bit of a strong temperament, and they are very good at keeping everything going. So these guys are really cool. They have a nice kind of paint set, which is fairly easy to do. If you wanted to paint your Stormcast to look like these guys, they have black kind of armour and gold is their main colouring. So dead easy to do. If you want to do it, use a bad and black as main base for everything. Go over with some light grey in certain areas to highlight if you wish to, and yeah, then use your gold, which is the main thing. So very easily done. You can even go with a bit of silver if you wanted to in certain areas as well, like certain kind of like plate, scale mail and everything like that. For any bare flesh that you have on those models though, they have a paler skin, so just make sure you're keeping an eye out for that, because of their mainly kind of fascination and living mainly in Shyish and everything like that. So next up we're going on more of the information on Order, side of Order, which is Cities of Sigmar. Cities of Sigmar can include elves, Dwaradin, humans, so you can have things like free guild soldiers, free guild generals and stuff like that as well, which are really cool to have. So you can have these kind of old style blokes carrying big massive long swords and everything like that, which are really cool, and you get some really nice units out of it as well, which is always nice. So, and you can have your Dwaradin as well, so you can have Fire Slayers in there, you can have the regular Dwarven Dwaradin, the Iron Breakers and everything like that, and the kind of more ironclad ones. And for your elves, you can have more kind of your wood elves and stuff like that if you wish to as well. Then going into more of a Nighthaunt backstory, so it's part 2. So they are literally bringing about the fact that the Nighthaunt are no longer content to lurk at the edges of civilization and just prey upon the weak. Now they have gathered into huge spectral armies bent on vengeance. So each geist is condemned, of course, to the afterlife of damnation and torture just by Nagash's cruel curses and his bent malice and everything like that. So these guys, of course, the Nighthaunt are the second main army that you're getting. So you're getting, of course, your Stormcasting Nighthaunt from this lot, from these magazines. If you've got the premium, you'll get, of course, some others, so it's not too bad. But these guys are really cool. Your Nighthaunt, you can kind of combine them a bit with other pieces as well if you wanted to, and if you've got the money to do it, of course. So moving on a bit further, of course, you've got things like the next story, which is all about forces of destruction. Your Forces of Destruction, this is all about basically kind of deciding which armies you want to focus on and giving you backstory behind everything. So the Forces of Destruction are your Oryx, Ogres and Grots. So Ogres are pretty cool, which I've done a bit of painting on those before, which you can see in the how to paint flesh videos, which are pretty cool. You get some really cool weapons and they look pretty meaty and pretty beefy. Your Oryx, you've got a couple of different types, so you can get more of a Savage Oryx or you can get the Iron Break, your Iron Jaws. Iron Jaws are very, very heavily armoured, a lot tougher, and Oryx are big units. They sometimes come along with squigs and stuff like that, and they can use these big massive balls and they'll use everything at their disposal, and they are hell-bent on destroying as much as possible, and they love to fight. And you got to kind of your Goblin style characters, so they're a little bit smaller than a lot smaller than Orcs, than Oryx, and they are happy to kind of destroy things, but they have a bit more mischievous side. So it gives you a bit more of a story, of course, on them. So Gorkamorka is the two-headed god of destruction. Each head has its own personality, though they are very, very similar. The two sides of Gorkamorka often clash, and when they do, they split into two gods, Gork and Mork. Gork is very ferocious, but Mork is a lot more cunning. So that kind of gives you the idea of what the Forces of Destruction are about. They can be cunning, but they are very ferocious in battle. So on the second page, though, they give you a bit more information about the Iron Jaws and Bone Splitters. Bone Splitters are kind of your savage Orcs, or Oryx, should I say, and they are very, very kind of very more involved with the great green god Gorkamorka, and there is no fun that these hunters cannot run down, and when possessed with battle fury and weird magic, they are capable of destroying even the most well equipped and heavily armoured enemies. The Iron Jaws are consider themselves the biggest and strongest Oryx. They are the armoured fist of Gorkamorka's hordes, marching to war clad in metal plate armour and wielding giant brutal axes. They represent the brutal side of the Oryx race, eschewing cunning in favour of overwhelming strength and force of arms. So, if you have a look into it, the Iron Jaws are normally clad in mainly yellow metal, so they have, which is why they use the flash kits yellow paint and stuff like that, which they have a very brutal manner about them. Then you've got your history of one of the battles, which is all to do with the anvils of Heldenhammer going against the Maggot-kin of Nurgle, which is and they're fighting them in Verdia, just outside the city of Hammerhall Gyrem. This battle kind of is all about fighting against the foulness that is the Maggot-kin. So the Maggot-kin they follow very closely. They have multiple units, so including things like the Blight Kings. They're pale skin, bloated. They are covered in maggots, surrounded by flies. They are often very, very horrible looking, and they would probably stink, and they carry very poisonous kind of weaponry and everything like that, and their focus is mainly kind of on poison and stuff like that. So these guys are pretty cool. The story is pretty decent as well, going through the battle and everything like that. With the Maggot-kin, they are very, very disgusting looking, and they are designed to be that way, which is pretty cool. The how to paint segment focuses on the two new paints, so using dried bark on ground covering on that Sigmar mausoleum, and lead belcher on the bars and railings and fences and everything like that. If you are using lead belcher, I would suggest using Nuln oil over the top of it to darken it up a bit, make it look a bit grimier and a bit grubbier, which is always nice. With the dried bark, if you are going to use it for ground covering, it will look a bit sparse, but all you need to do is just literally go over with Seraphim Sepia, which you can get from your local paint shop, and literally put a load of that over it. It will dry darker in recesses, and then if you want to lighten it a little bit back up, just dry brush it back over with dried bark, and it will look very, very nice, and it will look very, very well for what you want it to do. Then you've got your battle report for this one. So a battle kind of playthrough is in the domain of death. It is 5 Secretors versus 10 Chain Rasp. Yeah, it seems like an unbalanced fight considering you've had the first issue focused on 3 Secretors going up against Chain Rasp, which is winnable for 3 Secretors. It is also so equally as winnable for 10 Chain Rasps. But 5 Secretors going up against 10 Chain Rasps seems like a little bit much, but it can be done. So, War School profile, they have shown the characteristics. Bravery is a new summary for the characteristics on the War Scroll, so they are focusing more on bravery with this one to teach you how bravery works in the game. So the bravery for a Secretor is 7. The Chain Rasp Horde have a bravery of 6, and it is possible for everything to work. So as you can see in that page, their playthrough, they've killed a Secretor off with pretty easily and stuff like that as well. So really, really easily done and really good fun to do. Now, coming up in future issues, and why the back of the playmat from this issue is slightly different from regular playmats, is because they're focusing on entering the realm of life, Gairan itself. So they want you to have a bit more different pieces. So if there's going to be Azurite Ruins coming, which you can do however you want really. So you can go for that stone effect, you can go for a greeny stone effect if you wanted to, and do it how you want. So they're kind of focusing on realms. Also with that, for the main side, you can blend the 2 mats together to have very large battles if you wanted to as well. So really, really good stuff and good fun to have, and it will give us more stuff to do and different ways of painting and things like that as well. So focusing on next week though, so next week, issue number 19, we're getting Spirit Torment, Knight of Shrouds, and the Guardian of Souls models. Really, really cool hero units for the Nighthaunt army. Really, really good stuff. And then issue 20, we get the Lord Arcanum and an Evocator Prime. So Lord Arcanum on his Griff Charger, and the Evocator Prime on foot there with his sword held high. 2 more cool units to have for your Stormcast, 2 more hero units as well. That one's a really, really nice one to paint, that good old Griff Charger is. I've done one before and I'm looking forward to doing another one and doing it a bit differently. So really good stuff. We've got a lot of good new issues and more models to come, and I'm looking forward to it. Right, I've kept you all far long enough now. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, as always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment down below. Always helpful and lets me know how we're getting on. And I suppose I will see you very, very soon for more Warhammer content. Bye bye now.